We're here for the 2016 budget hearings for the Geauga County Park District, reconvene for 8/24/15 at 10 a.m. Yep.
The Park District provided to us revised appropriations for 2016 with their resolution 2415. That, in effect, increases their estimated expenses for 2016 from $6,784,054.08 to $9,834,055, changing the ending balance from $4,009,704.68 to $959,703.76. The construction fund also had an increase in estimated revenue due to transfer from $519,000 to $3,369,000, and estimated expenses changed from $2,238,840 to $2,446,500.
So tell me what sheet I'm looking at. I got so much paper.
This one.
That was that one.
Okay. Where would that be? Is that provided a copy?
Yeah, there's no one either. Is that the new one you
This
did?
is the new one.
Okay.
I thought I ran that up to your office. Let me make copies for you.
Well, I was already given all the paper, other than the one important document.
You guys gave us plenty. Got all your documents.
According to your document, John, somewhere in 2016, you're going to request a new line item or new fund, transfer to land improvement fund, which hasn't been set up yet. The process to set that up is your board approves it, commissioners approve it, and it's got to be approved by the state of Ohio.
That's correct.
Okay.
Michelle's been in contact with the state auditor.
Yeah, only the state auditor approves it, not the commissioners.
The process has always been to go to the commissioners to approve that.
For a capital reserve fund?
For a fund, any fund.
Not that one. By statute, it only goes to the state auditor.
Okay, I'll have to check with the commissioners just to make sure. That's the way it's always been. Anytime we're creating a new fund,
Yeah, I don't know why it would go there.
commissioners
We'll look at that.
Yeah, commissioners approve it, and they send it down to the state, and the state approves it or allows it or disallows it.
Right.
Just so we're on the record.
I'll let the
Yeah. I would be happy to stand corrected, and if it's only for your group.
Well, I think it may just be for the capital reserve funds are treated differently. That's what I'll look
It's
at.
fund per se.
Yeah.
I mean,
The legislation may have left that out when they referenced the reserve funds, thinking that you automatically look at the other one too. So that's what
I just tell you what I can do.
Could we interrupt for 1 second? We got a majority of the board here. It's your meeting, but we wanted to make sure we didn't run afoul of public meeting requirements. So with the majority here, we sent out a notice that this was going to be also not only your meeting, but a board meeting. So just for the record, if Mary Ruth could just call the board of park commissioners meeting into order, and then they may or may not participate at all, depending on how the discussion goes this morning. But we just didn't want to run into any problems on that.
Okay.
So Mary Ruth,
I'd like to call the Geauga Park District Board meeting to order.
and maybe the roll.
And I was going to say we need a roll call.
They call the roll. Mr. Orndorff?
Yes.
Mrs. Shumway?
Yes.
Sorry for the interruption, thanks.
Sorry.
You finished with your presentation
I am.
of these numbers? Okay. So in a review of the budget from last week, the estimated expense was $6.7 million. Now it's $9.8 million. In the construction fund, it was $2.4 million. And now it's it was $1.8 million, and now it's $2.4 million. And you are indicating to us that the creation of what are we going to call this fund?
Capital Reserve.
The capital reserve.
2016.
2016.
So you're indicating to us that the construction fund is also going to increase in its estimated expenses. Is that correct?
Yes, to move the money into this, for 2016, into this reserve balance account. And we will be dedicating, you should have received a memorandum from us on Friday afternoon. We will be dedicating this $2.85 million to 4 projects listed there. Maple Highlands Trail South asphalt, High property improvements, Ellerin property improvements, and Westwoods improvements.
Are any of those projects that were previously on but brought off because of the change in management? You've been holding them back?
No, not necessarily. A lot of them were conceptual. We're simply committing to them, that the money be appropriated to them.
Okay, so going forward, there are no more projects that have been held back for due to concerns
Because of board
of
change.
change in leadership.
No.
Okay. As my concern always has been, we have been accruing since, just a review, from 2010 in the capital fund, in the construction fund, Q41, there was a real cash balance of about $700,000. That amount has grown to $3.2 million. Every year we have been told, annually, that it's going to be spent down, spent down, spent down. Instead, it has grown almost 5-fold in 6 years. That's always been my concern. So now you are indicating to us that some of that cash balance of $3.3 million is going to go into the Capital Reserve Fund. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How much of that $3.2 million is going to go over?
$2.8 million.
And that does not include the additional expenditures of $3.5 million out of the general fund.
That's correct.
Right? So it's all those capital projects that you're going to spend that $3 million on in this coming year.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to take $2.8 million and put it into a special reserve fund in which you have 10 years' time to spend it, not allocate it, spend it.
Right.
And it's a continuous budget item, so that any monies you put into it next year will then have a 10-year time limit as well. Is that correct?
Well, you can create a separate fund each year.
Okay.
And that's what they'll have to decide next year whether they want to do that.
But wait, I'm confused, Chris. Now, hang on a second. I thought this $2.8 million was going to go into the existing land construction fund.
No, it'll be a new account. Capital.
Where's the $3.5 million going?
For that one.
have a transfer of
You're transferring out of the general fund
The
3.5 million.
3.35 million. It's a total of 2.85 that will be transferred into the newly created Capital Improvement Land Acquisition Fund
That's the one we're gonna
2016
talk
that
about.
we are
The
talking
state
about. Yes, and 500,000 to the Land Improvement Fund. The total of that is 3.35 million.
Okay.
And then for the 2016 projects, that amount that we are going to be paying out of the Land Improvement Fund is $2,446,500 for projects next year.
Where's the 2.8 from this fund?
The 2.85 million that we'll be putting into this newly created Capital Improvement Land Acquisition Fund will be designated for projects that we hope to have ready in 2017 and 2018, as noted in your memo. There's 4 projects that we have mentioned. As part of this Capital Improvement and Land Acquisition Fund, we have to, when we create this fund, we have to designate at least a location. So we will be designated the Westwoods, the Elder, the 4 locations. We have 10 years to use them. We hope to use them well before that, as long as, as projects go as planned and we are able to move forward on them in 17 and 18. That's the plan. If we decide to add additional funds, to answer that question, we would create new funds, because that would be our 2016 Capital Improvement Land Acquisition Fund. If we wanted to do this again in the next year and move funds and reserve it for Capital Improvement and Land Acquisition, we create a new fund for Capital Improvement Land Acquisition 2017, 2018, and we would reserve funds at that time for those projects in that year, and then we would hold that money for those as well.
So with the assumption that this fund is going to be approved next year,
Yes,
3.350 money will be transferred into that fund.
$2,850,000.
There's 500,000.
It says 3.35 here on this transfer.
$2,850,000 plus $500,000 is the $3,350,000. $500,000 is going to Land Acquisition Fund. $2,850,000 is going to Capital Improvement Land Acquisition. So it's a split between 2 accounts as a total of the 335.
As one member of the Budget Commission, a proposal has been submitted, and my hope is that it will be followed far more closely than it has been in the past. Because in the past, the Budget Commission and the taxpayers have been misled to the tune of almost $10 million of cash. That's a lot of dough, and it's all taxpayers' money. None of it is your money. So now the proposal is to take 2.8 and put it into a new account under which we have no review, but you are held to your own state-mandated expenses for that fund. So the state watches over that money, not us.
That's correct.
Okay.
Is that true?
The state's the one who audits that fund. But we have 10 years before they would cite us if we didn't either spend it or you have to put it back to the funds where it came from.
It still comes through you for Budget Commission and appropriations.
We'll see it on the sheet.
Yeah,
We'll see it for appropriations.
But there's nothing for them to approve next year on that. Your approval today puts that money in there for 2016.
Yeah.
So you
The
see
only
it.
thing we would see is whether or not you spent it or not.
But you will see the transfer come through in the Budget Commission time.
Right.
Okay.
And then you'll see it again next year if we are moving money out to transfer for purposes of
That'd be fine.
acquisition and also for improvements. So you will see any kind of activity in this account. You also see, as you do the other 2 funds, you'll be approving at this time of year the cash balance, and just like we do our other 2 funds. You already actually have a reserve fund, our retirement reserve fund, that 3rd fund on the list.
Right.
That is the RRA fund. That is actually the same type of fund set up under the same ORC code as what this one will be set up under.
Well, frankly, much as $82,000 is still a lot of money,
Yeah.
$10 million is more factorially. So I'm not worried as worried about the reserve retirement account, which shows zero expenditures already.
Yes.
So I am willing to support this budget, but as we have observed previously, if the proposed budget is not honored substantially, you've lost me next year, and I will do all I can to preserve the taxpayers' money. All right?
I agree with you. The only thing you need to keep in mind next year, hopefully I'm not here reminding you, the $2.8 million is not planned to be spent next year. It's planned to be spent in 2017 and 2018. But what you will be able to ask them is, what have you done to get yourself ready for construction in 2017 and 18? Because they got to go through design, bidding, and all that. So they should be able to tell you what progress has been made next year.
Let me just suggest, if there is a cash balance that exceeds $3.2 million that's in that construction Q41 fund now, I'm gone. But I'm only one of three. Okay. I have nothing for you.
Yeah, my issue is this is more. I mean, these are you're telling us this is what you're going to do in the future, and I would say that it's a story I think the Budget Commission's heard a lot in the past, but I do acknowledge that you have new board members, you have some new leadership at the park, and I don't know that it would be fair to not give those people an opportunity to prove themselves despite what's happened in the past. One of the things I wanted to talk about, I got a letter from the Protect Geauga Parks group asking us not to suspend the levy. I think all of us probably got that. And, again, the 86 levy was reaffirmed by the voters in 2012. And this is not about me wanting to overturn the will of the voters. I mean, all three of us are elected by the voters. We care a great deal about what the voters in this county think. And when voters approve levies, whether you vote for them or against them, you have to respect that result. I agree with all that. The problem is the voters were misled in 2012, and that's where we have to keep political subdivisions honest. I mean, the year before that levy was on the ballot, they said that they would have a $2 million estimated ending balance. They actually have a $4.1 million estimated in the general fund. They said they'd have almost a $1.9 million deficit in their land and construction fund in 2011, and they had a $1.1 million surplus. So what the voters were presented with in 2012 with the 2011 numbers were not only inaccurate, they were completely wrong. And again, that's misleading. So it's not about us overturning the will of the people. It's about keeping entities honest when they're presenting their case to the people about how much money they need. And when they present their case to the people in 2012 that they needed the levy renewed, the numbers really don't show that. And our problem is we can't correct those wrongs until down the line. So that's the frustration. Again, this is, I think, another commitment from the Park District. We're going to spend these dollars. We're going to use them. This is our plan, and I appreciate that. But it's something we've heard before. But I do think that the new group should be given an opportunity to at least show us that they're going to do that. So I'd be in favor of it, but I'm kind of where Chris is. I'd be looking. I want to see what happens between now and next year, and going forward from there. I think you'll lose me pretty quickly if the trend continues. I would be right back towards voting to suspend the levy. So, but I'd be in favor of voting for this budget now.
Is that a motion?
Wait, one more question.
Frank said his piece too.
No, the 2016, you're going to spend the 1.9?
It's a
That's
total
right
of
here, John.
1.9 in projects and
1.9.
another 500,000 that we have for the land acquisition. But yes, that's in
that is
projects.
That's what you're going to spend
Those are the
on these projects?
Yes.
I just want to make sure that's what they're spending.
Who wants to make the
I'll
motion?
move to approve.
I'll second it.
Yes.
All in
Yes.
favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. I didn't say aye. Yes, you got to say aye.